Hello friends, near and far, dear to my heart. I'm Victoria with Aligned Soul Tarot. This reading will be for Aquarius and all Aquarius placements found within your birth chart or wherever you have 11th house in your chart or any transiting 11th house in your chart. Cross watchers, you're welcome here. Place the roles as you see fit. And as always, if it doesn't resonate, don't make it fit. Check your other placements or check back later. You can find all my helpful links below, my website, my Patreon, any songs, guidance, messages that come up. Make sure to check out that description box. There's always a plethora of insight if you wish to go deeper into these messages. And as always, if you have any other questions, if you want a private reading, you know where to find me. My email is below. Make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Hit that like button to give your girl some support. It always helps boost these readings to get them out to more people that are needing them. And you get to stay up to date for all your placements and all my readings. I do have a eclipse playlist below where we have the solar eclipse in Libra. I just did a post-eclipse reading for this full moon in Aries. That's 2 a day, Aquarius. There is a ton of information in there, especially for you, Aquarius. We highlight the Pluto and Aquarius transit that's happening in November. So I highly encourage you to check out that reading. We go into some detail, and I am going to be talking more and more as we enter into 2025 on these energies, especially on my Patreon. And also the general love reading for October is linked below. And on Patreon, you also have access to all the extended monthly love readings. And also as a Patreon member, again, you're going to have a lot more supportive content. So if you like my style and you want to go deeper into that post-eclipse reading, I'm going to be doing a all signs reading where we go into more detail for each of the signs on Patreon. So join me there. You also get 20% off all of my services all the time. So Patreon's really where I'm trying to create community, right? And this is what we're really learning about Aquarius, right? You govern and rule the 11th house of community, of outreach, right? How can we show up in this world? Let's get into your reading. Hi, Aquarius, and welcome to this space. Thank you for trusting in me. Thank you for confiding in me. How are you feeling? Just know that whenever you find this reading, it's meant to find you. It's truly timeless. Although we're talking about certain astrological events and dates and all that good stuff, all these messages are meant to find you when they're meant to find you, okay? Wherever you have Aquarius in your chart, of course, I talk about a house system, so I'm talking about more a sun and ascendant placements, but it can resonate for any placement truly. So yes, Aquarius. I'm gonna talk from this book a bit for you because this is really big. This is a big time for the Aquarius collective. You are definitely stepping into a role that you have been preparing for quite some time. Again, you're not necessarily new to Pluto and Aquarius because it's been dancing back and forth for quite some time. So the universe, there's no coincidence. And I talk about this a lot in that post-eclipse full moon reading. None of this is a coincidence. It's all working in tandem, and these energies in nature is always in flow. It's just humans that tend to kind of over-intellectualize or overthink and ego, and the ego's not a bad thing, but it can definitely put us into less flow, right? So this is really what we're entering into, is more flow, the great wave, as I called it in that reading. The more that we can tap into this flow, the more that we can work with the universe and with these energies and not have to fight against them, because that's when ailments and stagnant, stuck energy can come up in the body. So this is big for you, okay? And I highly encourage you to check back to some months this past year where you felt like you were meeting some challenges. Watch those monthly readings. It's okay to look back, especially during eclipse season. We're being asked to look back. In that eclipse supportive playlist below, I have March and April readings. I have the solar eclipse reading, and also this post-eclipse reading I just did. On Patreon, I have the lunar eclipse and Pisces reading. That one is more preparation for, again, the North Node going into Pisces in January of 2025. So that reading is really the start of a brand new cycle as we exit this Aries North Node, Libra South Node. So if you want to know more about this, of course, check out those readings. Feel into certain months, especially February, when we had this kind of Pluto and Aquarius retrograde energy that it's been a good chunk of time here. And, you know, Pluto going back into Capricorn, it's just a little revisit. And last month we talked about this in your reading. So if you're new to my channel and you haven't watched those readings and you want some more insight and more support, check them out, okay? So I wanted to talk about some messages that came up for you. And as you saw after the intro, I put in that Bruce Lee quote. I post on Instagram as well. So if you want to get to know me as a person, I just put an insight, art, music, inspiration there on Instagram. But I did this Bruce Lee quote because we are in this grand trine right now of water. And we have the sun going into Scorpio here soon. Mercury just went into Scorpio, so there's lots of water going on. You are the water bearer, although you are an air sign. We're going to talk about that vessel because it really is a part of you. You hold multiple parts of self here. You are the subconscious kind of outer realms, 11th house, right next to Pisces, 12th house. So we have a lot of this Gemini, Aquarius, Pisces, which is mutable and fixed. So you are learning how to become more mutable to some extent is the way I'm seeing it as you integrate the water bearer, right? When you look at the symbology of Aquarius, you are the water bearer, although you're an air sign, right? And then we have this fixed element to air, right? You're the one fixed air sign. Which I perceive more as, you know, earth for me. This is just my way of looking at this. So there is kind of this eclectic vibe with Aquarius that we get. And also Uranus is lightning, electric. I talk about this in the post-eclipse reading, so watch it. We'll go in more detail there. But yeah, there's lightning, right, which can be somewhat associated with both water and air and fire. So this is a lot about alchemy for you, alchemizing, because Aquarius really is that very eclectic energy. It's kind of all encompassing in a lot of ways, much like your neighbor Pisces. But you know, Pisces is more the deep, dark ocean, or the void in the galaxy, and the, you know, also within that, there's all these kind of elements that play out. So it's about alchemy for you is really what's coming up. And that quote really talks about how water can flow and it becomes the vessel that it encompasses. So it's also about being adaptable and to bend and to move, be like water. I think it's such a powerful quote. Especially with the Saturnian influence, I think Bruce Lee is very disciplined to think of the level of skill and awareness that he has within his crafts. It took him a lot to get there. So any sort of mentor, leader that you look up to right now, pull on their qualities. Why do you look up to them? How can they empower you to be more adaptable and to move like water and to embrace this very watery time? But it doesn't mean that we have to steep in it. For some extent, yes, we're being asked to steep and slow down a bit, you know, because solar flare activity, all this stuff that is very much Aquarius, Uranus meets Pluto. Okay, so high frequency solar activity. I go into more detail on this, and there are links below for solar flare understanding, solar activity. This is natural, this is physics, and it's all about how to alchemize the body, how to work with the body in flow. Lots of flow happening here, okay? Be thy vessel is what I got for you, and the water bearer. So it's really interesting how you are very much this alchemical being right now, and it might feel like one day you might be moved into one element over the other, and really listen to that. Listen to your intuition. One day you might be feeling more of this high frequency, maybe a bit erratic and volatile. And then some days you might be feeling into this water and more tapping into your emotions. You're not crazy. This is just something that you are having to adapt to, because Pluto also is a bit erratic, okay? It's about crisis. It's about pressure, transformation. So you're almost having to go through right now, or whenever you find this, kind of all aspects of self. Parts work is what I'm also getting in. I have a link below on parts work. It's a useful therapeutic tool to get to know all these parts of you, these elements. And also, I'm being urged to tell you to look into your birth chart, okay? It's so important to know these aspects of your birth chart. Where do you have water? Where do you have fire? Where do you have earth? Okay, most likely you have air if you're watching this reading. But looking into all aspects of your chart and seeing what maybe you predominantly are, because this is a general reading. It can look very different for all of you. Lots around alchemy. And alchemy for me is the Magician and Temperance. Magician is about taking action, right? Being resourceful, utilizing all of the elements, right? Mercurial energy. But also we have Temperance, Sag. This takes patience. This takes connection to source energy, spirit, right? Divine guidance, flow. 1 foot on land, 1 foot in water, right? Very alchemical as we're working with multiple different elements. Okay, this is what's coming up for you. And there's a deep well that's occurring for you right now. And you're having to learn, much like all of us, because this is a deep state of rest and reflection. Again, Saturn in Pisces. We're going into 2025 with the North Node in Pisces, which is the house of rest. It's also about what's hidden. So we cannot get to what's hidden and access this deep well of insight, awareness, connection to source energy and our authentic selves, our soul, right? Unless we are slowing down to some extent. So that vessel, you are the water bearer. You have to understand to know when to give and when to not. This is really what's going on amongst a lot of the planetary stuff that's happening, okay? The post-eclipse reading goes again more into detail. Full moon in Aries, right? North Node in Aries, Chiron in Aries. This is all about self-sustaining and knowing when to fight and when not to fight, and not be overbearing, or to continue to fight till we are just broken as all hell. You know, Aries needs to learn when to slow down and to rest, and also to feel into their emotions. So you see this theme here as we're learning the polarities amongst this human experience and going with the flow. Okay, you have a lot of this Saturnian energy right now because you have Mars in Cancer switching over in November. We'll talk about that then. In your 6th house, Virgo. Venus and Scorpio's in your 10th house, Capricorn. And then we have Saturn and Pisces in your 2nd. Okay, so you're going to be feeling into, again, Pluto 12th to 1st. Okay, then you have 2nd, 6th, and 10th. These are all earth. So you see where the earth comes in here? You're really grounding yourself this month. You're learning when to give, when to take, when to fluctuate from that watery aspect of Aquarius to the air, which is air meets fire and water. You know, it's like, think about lightning, right? This is like, how is lightning created, right? How are these solar flares created? You know, really all it is that the earth is protecting earth energy. It's protecting us. And it creates this beautiful aurora borealis in the sky, and we're witnessing in places that we never have. Again, 2025, this is the peak of the solar activity, and it's going to affect our bodies. So again, check those links if you're feeling that way, and knowing when to balance thy vessel, Aquarius. So you are really grounding yourself, or being urged to really get in close understanding of what do you have to give, when can you no longer give, right? Also asking for support, flow like water, knowing what you need to feel like you can give, not to only to yourself, but to others. And it's a lot around identity, what you're here to give, what you're not here to give, when you have to say no and when you have to say yes. And this is a fine tuning that you are working on right now. There's a lot around work, responsibilities and duties, and knowing the fine line between both, because there's lots of pressure with the 2nd, 6th, and 10th. Okay, it will lighten up as we move to the end of the month and into November. We do have Venus going into Sag October 17th, so I will touch on that, okay? And that's your 11th house, so that is very much in flow with your energy. You're getting closer to outreach, community, who you can actually rely on to some extent to help you navigate some of these energy changes, okay? Because you can't go it alone. There's moments where we have to sit with ourselves. That's a part of this journey, but we can't always go it alone. That's not what we as humans are meant to do. We are meant to be in communities, whether they're big or small, but we're meant to have others to support us. And Pluto in Capricorn has taught us a very different way of viewing it. This hyper independence. Also, Chiron and Aries, we're learning that we don't always have to go it alone. When you look and reflect upon the world, different cultures, you see where they might have less, but they have their people because they can't rely on the government. And we're starting to see that here now in the States, where the government has failed us, where a lot of these structures of society and cultural norms are not serving our well-being or our health. And this is really what Pluto in Aquarius is calling us into, is to find those friendships, 11th house, is to find those people that are going to be there for us, because it starts with us taking self-action, being self-sustaining, but also reaching out to those that are going to be there, right? And sometimes that's hard, because people we thought were there for us aren't. And that's when we have to really stop playing the victim and to take action to find those people, okay? The South Node in Libra really has been talking about that a lot too. Lots of shedding outdated relationships, really big themes coming up. And I talk about that in the solar eclipse in Libra reading, okay? So I want to read a little bit about this book. This is an amazing book if you want to dive deeper into the outer planets. This is mainly like Saturn, Pluto, Uranus, okay? Great book by Stephen Arroyo. So I just want to read this here. It says, in mythology, Pluto was always connected with the underworld, just as the god Pluto held Persephone in the underworld. So the Pluto force in the individual horoscope symbolizes those old patterns and psychic wastes which hold us down and have to be eliminated. In Greek mythology, Pluto was regarded esoterically as identical with Hades. As the scholar states, Hades and Pluto were both considered to be cover names for Dionysos, Dionysos. These are gods you could be, or deities you could be looking into. The fact that the subterranean wine god and Pluto were regarded as identical gives us a clue to why people behave so compulsively under the influence of alcohol. So again, this is also about the body being very in tune with substances that you're taking in. For the liquor stimulates, stirs up the old, right? They say it's a truth serum, right? When people drink, you really see their demons, right? The shadow parts of them. It stirs up the old, usually unconscious compulsions. And writes that Persephone was seduced by her father, the subterranean Zeus, Hades, or Dionysos, the wine god. This subterranean Zeus is identical with Pluto, and the fact that this deity is called Zeus reveals what overwhelming power was attributed to him. So this is really talking about getting rid of the old ego, right? This is death, rebirth, Scorpio. So it's very scorpionic, underworld, high priestess. She guards the underworld and not being afraid of these things. That's the thing. It's like the underworld is just an aspect of the shadow of the self. People think of so many kind of outlandish, scary thoughts that come up with underworld, but it's just like above, as above, so below. Pisces, 12th house. I'm going to pull from the Egyptian oracle. Fire, yeah, interesting. I've been really calling in my ancestors, and I posted about this. I'll be posting more about it. I have an ancestral healing reading as I'm working more with ancestors, past life regression, looking into that, and also supportive tarot messages on my website if you want an ancestor reading. But I've been working with some of the Egyptian ancestors that I have in my lineage. They've been coming to me very strongly without me even really, I asked, but I didn't really know. I've always had connections with Egypt. Looking into your I always say it wrong, astro map. It's like blending astrology with the map of the world and seeing where your points are. So maybe you can look into that as well for yourself, since I'm mentioning this. But I have like 4 points around and in Egypt. So there's a deep astrology connection there. So yeah, this deck here is really cool. We're going to pull one more card for you. It's the Anubis Oracle, if you're interested in what I'm reading on. Let's pull for Aquarius. Okay, well, that was fast. Lots around deities. You could be, again, I'm also encouraging everyone to, again, working with your ancestors is so important with this Pisces influence, Saturn in Pisces. And also North Node going into Pisces, and Pisces is your neighbor, so there's lots to learn from Pisces in your chart or just Pisces people. Here you are. Of course you would come out in this deck. This is the star card, 17. And this is the deity connected with your energy, so you should look into her. Sothis, Sothis. So this is a deeper way that you can connect with deities outside of the regular tarot. Star consciousness. This is healing. Wow. And then we have the desert that came out, 24. Also reminding me that we are entering into the 25th cycle, 2025. So this is 2024. So this could be where you've been. 24. Breaks down to a 6, which again, we have... What was it again? The 6th house transiting is Mars. Interesting. And that's fire, Mars. So this transiting Mars in Cancer, which has been, again, it's been in Cancer for a good almost a month and a half, we'll say. So over the last month and a half, you've been in this 6th house. You could be seeing the number 6 coming up. Okay? 17 also breaks down to an 8. It's a strength year. So this is really talking about where you've been, I feel like, and where you're going more as we expand on this star quality. Oh, wow. And this is, again, connecting fire. Alchemy. Reminding me again of Temperance, Sag, the desert. Let's read about it. Also, 6th house is purification. So this is purifying thy vessel. Health, what you're drinking, the quality of water. With all this solar flare activity that we are in and have been, it's a natural cycle, the sun cycle, but it is peaking. So with this peak, we're going to be experiencing more of these solar flares that are, you can see it reflected. It's impacting the earth. And although the earth is protecting us, we are energetic beings. We are made of frequency, dark matter, much like the stars. It's all connected. We're made up of stars, so of course we're gonna feel this. That's what Sothis is here to remind you, that you are a galactic being, energetic being. Okay, let's see what this card's all about for you. But yeah, purification, even through the desert, where you think of a desert. What's interesting with the desert card is, you know, we think that there's nothing, it's desolate, but there's still many, many creatures that can live within this ecosystem. And also I'm getting reminded of the desert, the camel card from the Animal Oracle is about preservation. Because this is initiation, this is a long journey, Pluto going into Aquarius star. This is going to be a 20-year cycle for Aquarius. So you have to be able to sustain yourself amongst this long journey through the desert, the oasis. And also I have to tell you this message. So I've been diving deep into some interesting stuff around my ancestors, especially Egyptian culture, the Anunnaki, and all sorts of other cultures around that time, the Sumerians, the Palladians, all this stuff. You know, I've dived into it, but I'm just feeling called to dive deeper into a bit of the history around these gods, these deities. And they were talking about this one man, I forget his name, but he was saying how deserts, and this might be a bit woo-woo, so you might not agree, but deserts are actually not necessarily a part of our natural ecosystem on Earth. Listen, he was saying how during these times when there were, let's say, galactic forces mixing with humans, there was a lot of this, think about Egyptian culture and these pyramids, how are they built? A lot of people question if it was actually all just humans, or was there some sort of extraterrestrial, the Anunnaki, you know, that came down and bestowed these gifts, 17 star, or occupied the earth with them, where we have these hybrids. So the desert, going back to the desert here, is that this was considered the war plains when there was massive wars, because war has been going on since the beginning of time, let's be honest. It's part of this human experience, sadly, it seems. As Earth experience, and maybe even other planets that are experiencing this. But he was suggesting and saying that the desert was where these major catastrophic wars were taking place, and that's why it became so desolate. Very interesting, huh? If you want to go deeper into that, I will provide a link for that really cool documentary, because he explains it way better. I just watched it yesterday. But yeah, you don't have to watch it, but it's coming up here, and I had to relay the message. So, in the desert, we're surrounded by sand and fiery red sky, with sun pouring down on the ground and wavy energy rising into the air. This is not a mirage, but rather another dimension, the domain of fire. Many mystics have quested for answers to life's deepest questions in that place of arid fire, heat, for it is a place of true transformation. So this is also about like working with, again, fire, candles and burning bowls and sauna, steam. The energy of fire is quick. It consumes everything in its path in the blink of an eye. The energies of fire pushes towards the death of the old, Pluto, and the struggle for new birth. For when we go into the desert, we realize how tenuous our hold is on life and how easily and quickly we might perish. Yet it is in our willingness to die to the old and leap in the fires of transformation that we surrender the outcome and the future to wisdom beyond our egoic minds and egoic designs. Trial by fire speaks of the tempering quality of fire. Temperance, yes. Lots happening for you in December. It burns away the dross, which includes everything except the essence of what needs to be carried forth. Out of the flaming heat, the scorching fires of transformation, true wisdom is born, rising up out of the desert pyre like the phoenix. I was just about to say, this is like the initiation of Scorpio, which is the phoenix. So the evolved archetype of Scorpio, which we're going into Scorpio season, is the phoenix rising from the ashes, Pluto. Interesting. So also that could be a strong story that you can look into, is the story of the phoenix. There is a fiery process of death, rebirth, and transformation occurring for you. Spend some time sitting before an open fire or in the sunlight. Candles, right? This is about, again, having a burning bowl. There's lots of things you can look up around fire magic if this is something that you're being called to do, because I was getting reminded of that in the beginning. It's like you're blending, alchemizing, and utilizing all these different elements in your life, or that's what Spirit's urging you to do. And also when I was talking on the story of the desert and how these were actually massive war like a war, what's the word I'm trying to think? It was where a war occurred. So I guess things were just destroyed. All life was destroyed because of these massive weapons of destruction that they were using at the time. And they were talking about many interesting things. If you want to go into it, watch that link below. I'll provide it. But yeah, it kind of makes sense to some extent. It's very interesting. Let's just say that. I'm not going to go into all that right now, but that whole documentary was, wow. It opened my mind to a lot of things. And of course, question things always. You don't have to stick to one thing as truth or real, you know. All right, Aquarius. We're going deep here. I love it. I hope you enjoy this style. You know, I just wing it. I go with the flow. I also got the song for you by MGMT, Electric Feel. I said, ooh, girl, shock me like an electric eel. Baby girl, I'll provide that link below. We're feeling this electric. It's electric. Boogie, woogie, woogie. You could be feeling like you're being initiated, right? You are. You're being initiated into a massive cycle. Doesn't matter how old you are. Of course, it does matter to some extent. In your birth chart, your transits, all of it matters. Your story matters. But it looks different. It's flavored different for all of you about what this initiation into this archetypal element of fire. You could also be dealing with a fire sign for some of you. Or utilizing, again, those parts of your chart. All of them, like I said, air, earth, fire, water. The transits are very earth right now. So this is allowing you to ground yourself so that you can sustain through this desert, because you are or have been, I should say, going through this phoenix, rising from the ashes, shedding, lots of shedding, like a snake shedding its skin, healing, star, Sothis. Oh, wow. Look up her. S-O-T-H-S. Sothis. You're shedding because Aquarius is going through this initiation because, again, there's something that a gift you have to give, much like Gemini, Aquarius, and Pisces are going through these initiations because these three signs specifically, and also Aries, a lot of the cardinal signs, but I would say Aries, because we're going to be moving into more Aries and Gemini influence in 2025. We'll go there when we go there. But Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, and Gemini, which is interesting. We have mutable, fixed, and cardinal. Interesting, huh? But these are all the elements, right? That's literally all the elements right there. We're only missing Earth, and that's why we're needing some grounding here. You're having those transits of Earth, working with the Earth also. Herbs. Again, what you're eating. Aquarius, what do we have for Aquarius? Please show me the truth for my Aquarius viewers. We are working with Pluto in Capricorn right now. The moon, lots of water, yeah. But it's a brief moment. We're about to be going right into your sign. So this is the time to be working with that Earth. And that is in your 12th house. So this is very Piscean. What's hidden? Also, when I think of Earth, I think of the physical body. So again, that's that 6th house, Virgo, purification. So much for you around detoxing. In that book, you know, it did mention about drinking substances. What are you putting into your body? It's really going to affect this process of alchemizing. Aquarius, what do we have for Aquarius? Please show me the truth. Ancestors, guides, allies, ascended masters. For Aquarius. So much water here, all water. Be like water, that quote, wow, all water here. So much water coming up for you. And this is the balance of Earth. See, air and fire are very harmonic, and then water, earth are very harmonic. Of course, they all work together. This is true alchemy, when we can learn and be like the magician, right? Gemini, Virgo, to alchemize and to blend forces. But this specific for you this month, again, with those transits and the cards that are coming out, is water, earth. And then I feel like as we move into 2025, it's going to be air, fire. Okay. Uranus meets Pluto. All right. So let's talk about this. Wow. What's going on here? We got water, 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 water. 4 of the water cards. So you have here the moon, Pisces, also Cancer for me as a reader. 7 of Cups, Venus in Scorpio. We have 9 of Cups, a Pisces. And we have Knight of Cups here, which can be really any water sign. So lots of water, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. Where do you have water in your chart, or where are you dealing with a water sign? Okay, the love readings below where we go more into detail, you versus them. This is more self-focused, okay? But you can take the messages as you see fit if it's applying to someone you know. So things are being revealed, revelations. Yes, we know this. We've talked about this. And again, watch those other readings for more insight. You're getting more close to, again, happiness, real, true, authentic happiness. And the 9 is also Sag. So I feel like with the desert fire and also November being the shift, December is really where you're going to feel this fiery presence of Sag. We also have Venus going into Sag here soon. So there is this kind of 9, 9 is about self-realizations. In the tarot, the 9 is really where the magic is. It's actually where the action is starting to be taken, and the 10 is where we close out the chapter, or we get the gifts, or receive the gift, where we can exit right into the next cycle. So you're at the 9, which is where the action is being taken, the initiation, like we've been talking about. You're being initiated and you're shedding more than you probably realized that you had to shed, right? Also, again, working around the vessel, this body that you are in, although you might feel like you dissociate from your own body, it is a time to connect in with your body, this watery earth, right? Because you think about your body, it's about what, 70 to 90% water? So this is a lot around your physical vessel right now, and listening to that and tuning into that, because there might have been something that you were avoiding at some point where you might have been diluted. 7 of Cups is like illusion. Neptune also is strong here for you with the 7 of Cups and the moon. Also 9 of Cups being Pisces. So you might be experiencing some strong transits to Neptune. And if you want a transit reading, I do provide those, as well as birth chart analysis. Check out my website. I just updated it with some new style readings. But the transit readings are, whew, I give those the most to people. Because it's so impactful for right now. We talk about what short and long-term transits you're having. So you very well could have some transits to Neptune that are affecting you. Neptune retrograde is affecting us all, but we're really feeling into this, right? But now that Saturn in Pisces is going direct in November. Again, November, really, this is a preparation reading, I feel, for you. We're seeing beyond the veil. We're seeing beyond our own self-limiting beliefs. We're feeling into, again, people around us that we just can't give. Again, what can I give? Knowing when to give and pour that water out, and knowing when to reserve. So it's like reserving the well. There's a deep well that you hold within you, and you're learning how to reserve those energies and not to overextend yourself anymore. 9 of Cups in reverse, 7 of Cups. And this could be coming through as downloads around the moon cycles. We could be very closely connected with the moon, or being urged to work with the moon. But this is coming out, right? The moon in reverse. And you're learning how to self-sustain, right? And the 9 of Cups, to some, any 9, it does require a little bit of selfishness. And we did talk about this in that post-eclipse reading, full moon in Aries. Aries can be a bit selfish. North Node in Aries. We're all having to become more self-sustaining. And to realize that although people come into our lives and we innately all have this deep desire to belong, and yes, we do need community, but there are things that are coming up right now, Libra South Node, that are urging us in directions that we can no longer go with people. And knowing that that's okay. We can't force anyone to understand or be on this path with us. We cannot justify or try to balance out things with anyone in our lives, whether that's family, work, intimate partnerships, friends, we have to understand and understand that everyone is at where they're at. And you're in a place now where you are being initiated. You're rising above the ashes, and you're learning how to take care and tend to yourself and your needs. And also a little bit of rejection I'm seeing here. You're having to, again, see beyond the BS. And you know, you might have to call some people out, but I don't think it has to be volatile. You know, be mindful of that if that is your case. If you notice that your energy is very volatile, contract, go back. Jupiter retrograde right now. Retract a bit. You don't need to extend yourself out right now too much. This is definitely about, again, knowing when to pour the water, Aquarius. Knowing when to reserve, right? Knight of Cups in reverse. Because you could easily deplete yourself in the Seven of Cups. Too many options, too many things on your list. And I get it. Living on this earth, it's not very well equipped for the spiritually enlightened people, especially where we're going. And this is what we are all stepping into, realizing, and we're breaking those societal norms, expectations, culture norms. Pluto and Aquarius, this is all around identity as well. Wow, powerful here. Being more adaptable, flow like water, that quote, you could use that and affirm that to yourself, to flow like water, be like water, because you have all water cards here. Also, that lunar eclipse in Pisces reading on Patreon could help you very much. If you want to look into that reading, it is on Patreon. Let's pull from the Moonology for advice on how Aquarius can utilize this energy here, alchemizing. Meditate and contemplate. Yeah, I just said Pisces. There's that Pisces eclipse. So yeah, I'm urging you to watch that if you want to join me on Patreon. The South Node's coming up. Also the eclipse, the North and South Node playlist. I did a whole series on each of the axes. So getting familiar with your South Node, because that's maybe where you've been stuck in illusion or fear or other people's ish, you know, getting more clear, reaching a point of clarity, knowing when to reject. This also reminded me of Venus, Knight of Cups in reverse. It is about the fine art of rejection, because Venus is not all love, light, love everyone. No, our Venus is our values, okay? We have to get very clear with our values, which you very much are with, you have Saturn in Pisces in your second house, and it's not going anywhere for a while. So this has been a big theme for you around your identity, your values, what you can give, what you can't. And that means that you're going to have to reject certain offers, okay? And that's okay. It's getting you closer to who you truly are, Nine of Cups. And you do have to go into this contemplation, right? Don't let the past hold you back. South Node, your South Node placement, also Libra South Node for all of us on a collective level. So watch those readings below if you want some extra supportive content. I got a ton of stuff down there for you to look through, to geek out on. You know, watch that podcast that I watched yesterday about the desert. You might actually find some really cool information there for you. I'm forgetting his name. There was multiple people. It's just a really, and I liked the style that he talked about it in. It was just very interesting. Let's just say that. So we're going to pull from the Astro Tarot deck to see what signs you could be dealing with in love. Again, these could be transits, placements in your chart or theirs, or time markers. Okay. Significant energies that are present in your love life. Sag and Venus. We've been talking about Venus just now. Venus going into Sag on the 17th of October. This is going to be monumental for this relationship. So this is talking about right now. And I just talked about Venus. So this is where you might have to reject an offer, or you might feel rejected. It could go either way. We're going to go more deeply into the love reading, especially if you're dealing with a water sign or someone that has water in their Venus, or Venus, a Sag placement, or any Sag placement really. I am getting a strong significance with the fire there of Sag season also. Wow. Okay. What else for Aquarius, please? Aquarius in love. Please show me the truth for my Aquarius viewers. Ancestors, guides. Virgo. That's that 6th house. See the number 6 up there? You could be seeing 6 a lot. 16 breaks down to a 7. Again, the house of partnership. Libra, Taurus is Venus. So they could be a Taurus. We have Taurus, Virgo, Libra, Sag, and Pisces. Yeah. These are a lot of the placements we've been talking about, right? New moon in Sag, South Node. You might also have, which is interesting here, is this, you might have the Pisces North Node, Virgo South Node, which we're going into in 2025. Also, this could be time markers for this relationship, right? We're going into this Pisces North Node, Virgo South Node as of January, okay? But you could have that placement, or the flip of it. You could have Virgo North Node, Pisces South Node. That's showing up very strongly in Saturn. There's Saturn right there. Oh, we talk about Saturn a lot. Saturn, Pisces. You might also have Saturn and Pisces in your chart, which would mean you're going through a Saturn return, right? Saturn returns are pretty intense, you know. I remember mine. It was a huge catalyst moment. My whole life changed in such a good way. It didn't seem that way at first. And that's kind of maybe where this energy is coming up for some of you. This is a general reading. Maybe some of you are going through your first Saturn return, or you're going into your second, right? 58 to 60 years of age. Your first is 28 to 30 years of age. So if you are experiencing that, just know that I'm here to support you with a personalized reading where you can get more familiar with what you're going through, okay? The lessons in karma around Saturn. But we're going to dive into your love reading here. If you want to join me, that link is below for the general love message, as well as all the other supportive links. I hope you enjoyed this reading. Bye for now.